high impact and nationwide. A coast-to-coast battle built on passion and drive. For outsiders, it may be hard to understand. Real cars on real roads, going real fast. But once you dig in, you see a deep and complex series that fields the greatest drivers this country has ever seen, and those who look to surpass them. In 2024, with so much change on the horizon, a stellar entry field lines up for the opening round of the Canadian Rally Championship, Rallye Perce Neige. With some of the most unpredictable conditions ever. Welcome to Maniwaki, Quebec, for the first event of the 2024 Canadian Rally Championship, Rallye Perce Neige. The starting list is stacked with past winners, international superstars, and returning champions, all looking for a shot at the surprise last-minute entry, the 10-time champion, Antoine Lestage.
This year we're ready for a championship, but today there's a lot of competition.
There's only like 10 cars that can make the podium. I don't know if you've heard of this Antoine Lestage guy, but I think he's not that fast.
Lestage, 10 times Canadian champion.
We're all having a good time and there's some great drivers out here, but Antoine Lestage is the real deal. And so now we're going to find out how we really stack up.
Yeah, really happy to be here. 5 years, unbelievable how time flies. Some of the guys are really fast and they've been getting faster and faster the past few years while we were not here. So it's hard to tell to be honest.
The three-time NACAM champion, Ricardo Cordero, is looking forward to the challenge.
I'm like the one driver that likes to do crazy rallies, and this is one of them, and we're crazy Mexicans.
Boy, very excited. We're still riding the high from winning the championship last year. We're looking at the stages right now. There are some tricky spots. There's some spots where you can get in big trouble. And there's some spots where that car and its top speed and its power are going to be absolutely untouchable.
We are here to start the season in big and try to be competitive. We'll see, but for sure it will be tight.
34 teams will challenge 22 special stages covering over 260 competitive kilometers. The conditions vary from dry tarmac to ice-covered gravel and every combination in between. There are no small mistakes at this rally. This broadcast of the Canadian Rally Championship is presented by Subaru Canada. Another big change this year is the expansion of Rallye Perce Neige into a two-day event. The teams will cover 6 stages tonight, led through the start line by the Mexicans, Ricardo Cordero and co-driver Marco Hernandez. This team has won Rallye Bay de Chaleur outright, but they are struggling to come to grips with the ice and snow.
2, 1, go. Left 3 minus don'ts.
Right behind them are the legends, Antoine Lestage and Alan Ockwell. Their CAS competition Fiesta had a trial-by-fire shakedown at last year's attrition-riddled Rally Charleroi and came through clean. Now in the hands of the Masters, there's clearly no rust to shake off as they win the first 2 stages. The defending champions, Jean-Sébastien Besner and Yvan Joyal, are convinced they have the package to beat this weekend, and they're holding nothing back in the first step of their title defense. They are on the limit, trailing just behind Lestage early in the loop. The 2022 champions, Jérôme Mailloux and Philippe Poirier, had nothing but bad luck for most of 2023, with only one successful event. They're hoping to put all that behind them this year and win Stage 3 outright. But then disaster strikes again on Stage 4. They'll continue, but well out of contention. Since transitioning from two-wheel drive to all-wheel drive, Jason Bailey has struggled at winter events in his new Fiesta RC3. He and co-driver Jamie Willits are determined to keep the car on the road this time, and are maintaining a cautious pace through the first loop of stages. By contrast, Marc-André Brisebois and Marie-France Desmarais-Trepanier are usually strong in slippery conditions, but are struggling. After nearly missing this turn, they make a serious navigational error and shortcut the stage. This earns them 15 minutes in penalties, knocking them way down the leaderboard. After a long string of mechanical DNFs, Sebastian Clark has reworked the engine package with the help of AS Performance, with the goal of trading power for reliability. So far, it's paying off. He and co-driver Pat Levesque are posting consistent stage finishes, despite a few sketchy moments on the ice. Simone Vincent and Hubert Goutreau have seen success in the past by being consistent when others stumble. But it's their turn to have some bad luck. A center diff problem reverts the car to rear-wheel drive, and before Vincent realizes it, wheel spin causes all the studs to blow out of the rear tires. The loss of traction forces them to limp through the remaining stages of the day. Alexander Moreau and Ian Guité led the first part of the 2023 title race, but were forced to settle for runner-up status due to crashes and reliability issues with the car. This time, they're taking advantage of Test Racing's Arrive and Drive program, and they're quickly getting the hang of their newer wide-body Subaru STI. Also in a new Test Racing car for 2024, Olivier Martel and Vincent Hubert are always a threat for the podium at any rally they enter. Although known as tall pine specialists, Jeremy Drake and Derek Jackson are at home on slippery roads and are strong through the night stages. In 2023, Chris Greenhouse and Ryan Scott started their run to their first title with a tight battle at Rallye Perce Neige, and this year is no different. Greenhouse takes the early lead, but struggles with the icy conditions.
35. Okay, good. 5 left plus over crest.
This allows Nicolas Laverdiere and Marc-Olivier Lamontagne to reel the defending champions back in on the tighter stages, closing to within 4 seconds of the class lead. The duel ahead has left Hans Larose and Alexandre Pizan well back in third, but this rally is just getting started. By the end of the loop, it's clear that Lestage and Ockwell are picking right up where they left off after winning their last championship together in 2017, holding the lead through the end of the first day. 6 stages in, Lestage leads Besner by nearly a minute. Cordero is out after stage 3. Bailey holds third, with Moreau and Drake rounding out the top 5. Greenhouse leads Laverdiere by just 3 seconds in two-wheel drive. The day's racing may be over, but the night is young for the service crews.
Yeah, everything went well. The first stage, we were a bit surprised, Alan and I, to win it because it felt like we were very safe in places, but I guess overall we had a decent rhythm. To be honest, I was expecting some of these guys to be way closer than us. A bit surprised, but happy.
Honestly, I'm very surprised we're second. I mean, I know myself, I'm not always comfortable in those really fast stages. Yeah, I cannot be happier than that right now.
Last year was close, this year even closer. I'm very impressed that Nick is throwing down some good times, but I still got a little bit in reserve. We'll throw it down even harder tomorrow.
Really happy with the pace, and we were surprised of the 30 seconds he took us on the stage, and we came back. Usually we are faster.
Rallye Perce Neige has just begun.
Welcome to your 20-minute high-intensity workout. Pick up the cadence, regulate your breathing. Get ready for a climb, let's go. Okay, push it on the flats. Pick a number and get after it. Recovery in 3, 2, 1. The all-new WRX.
Welcome back to Rallye Perce Neige, the opening round of the 2024 Canadian Rally Championship. The cars are being fired up and the teams are getting ready for a new day of rallying, with the exception of Nicolas Laverdiere. His Fiesta suffered a catastrophic gearbox failure on the way back to service last night, and he's now out of the rally. A disappointing end to a pitched battle in the two-wheel drive class.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go, 150.
With nearly a minute on their closest competitors, Antoine Lestage and Alan Ockwell will start first on the road this morning. It's easy to forget that this is Lestage and Ockwell's first rally in the new Ford Fiesta, but this team has made this type of transition before. Their first championship together was in Antoine's Evo 10. Then they saw success in the Subaru Canada factory team car. Lestage is still feeling out the limits of the CAS Fiesta, but is doing so methodically, with minimal risk. It's a proven strategy. Jean-Sébastien Besner and Yvan Joyal are also employing a zero-risk strategy. They've decided that the conditions are far too tricky to chase Lestage for stage wins, looking instead for maximum points towards their second title. Jason Bailey and Jamie Willets made it through the first day of the rally unscathed, and their consistent speed has them up to third overall. But their race unravels in a heartbeat from one simple mistake. Bailey will miss an entire loop of stages, and the penalties make it impossible for him to get back into the points. Alexander Moreau and Ian Guité are smooth and fast, qualities that earned them the win here on these stages in 2023. Add in the consistent performance of the new car, and they are making strides up the leaderboard, now up to fourth. Right behind them, Sebastian Clark and Patrick Levesque are also enjoying the increased reliability of their car. They jump from 8th to 5th in the morning loop of stages, leapfrogging Jeremy Drake and Derek Jackson. Drake struggles with the conditions, finally carrying too much speed into a tight left turn, earning a visit from the sweep crew in the process.
My car's been pulling right all day, but we got lucky not going into the river, so it is what it is.
One of the most surprising performances of the weekend is that of Vincent Lalonde. The 16-year-old is posting stage times worthy of an overall podium, and this is his first rally. Lalonde is required to compete in 2 regional rallies before he attempts a national, but it won't be long before we see this rising star on the big leaderboards. Speaking of rising stars, Gabriel Monette and Hugh Bergeron are also working steadily up the leaderboard. They thread the needle on the high-speed Blue Sea Bouchette stage to move up to 7th overall. With Laverdiere out, Chris Greenhouse and Ryan Scott have a tremendous lead over Hans Larose and Alexander Pazan. But this can be a dangerous situation, as without pressure from behind, the risk of losing focus becomes serious.
Are we stuck?
Yeah.
Greenhouse's lead evaporates while trying to get the car back on the road, and the associated penalty knocks them down the leaderboard to 3rd in class. This hands the class lead to Larose and Pazan. Marc-André Brizois and Marie-France Desmarais-Trepanier have rocketed back up into the points from 31st place. An incredible drive given the conditions. Trevor Pounier and Ryan Rouleau have a solid lead in production all-wheel drive. Their pace good enough to maintain control of the class despite collecting 10 minutes worth of penalties. After 13 stages, Lestage adds another 20 seconds to his lead over Besner. Moreau is up to 3rd, and Larose leads two-wheel drive. But the 10-time champ's smooth run at the top is about to suffer some serious turbulence. More after the break. The teams are back for service after a tough morning loop of stages at Rallye Perce Neige. Antoine Lestage arrives with a solid lead and a broken car.
Yeah, bit of drama, I guess. At the end of the last short stage, there was a big bump and the steering column disconnected. So luckily we had finished the stage, but then we had to stop in the transit and Alan needed to hold it as we came here. But I think it's gonna be okay. A little bit of drama is always good, huh?
I don't know how we were able to go on those roads before without those studs. The challenge was to manage them, not to lose the studs actually. So I think we've been able to manage that. Yeah, it's not the fastest pace, but a very constant pace that we've decided to choose, and it's going well.
Hier, je me suis vraiment battu avec l'auto. C'était pas vraiment mon style, les ajustements. Fait que toutes les stages, je travaillais fort. J'ajustais l'auto, les pressions pneus, les suspensions. Puis à la place de compenser j'ai vraiment gardé ça safe pour rester sur la route, pour être capable de travailler dessus puis m'améliorer.
We need to be careful on the icy spot because even there with studs it still slips. On the tarmac spot you need to be cautious if you're gonna burn the studs. So yeah, it's a management day.
It was a real skating rink out there. I did a beautiful 360 pirouette around one corner. Being smart is not what I'm famous for. So another corner came along and it just wouldn't kick back in time, and we stuffed it in just deep enough not to be able to get it back out on its own power.
We thought that pretty much handed it to us. We ended up having a nearly 5-minute lead. Next to last stage coming in here, got down to dry pavement and I just lost the rear end. I put it off and got stuck and lost 12 minutes stuck in a snowbank, and that puts us so far back. I have no idea what we're gonna do now.
Ça fait 1 an qu'on n'a pas roulé, fait que faut se remettre dedans. Aujourd'hui, la cadence, ça va très, très, très bien. Les notes sont vraiment sacoches. On a vraiment du fun. Écoute, le rallye, c'est fou!
Service complete. It's back out for another run through the stages. Steering rack repaired, Antoine Lestage and Alan Ockwell continue to put on a clinic of how to manage a rally. There are too many kilometers left to completely back off, but pushing now would be risk for no reward. Pace wins races, brains win championships, and Lestage is a master of both. Padding Lestage's comfort zone, Jean-Sébastien Besner and Yvan Joyal start having driveline trouble. The transmission starts missing gears, and the engine loses power intermittently. They're dropping more time to Lestage, but still have a wide margin over Alexander Moreau and Ian Guité in third. Moreau and Guité had too many events end in heartbreak last year to now risk it all hunting down Besner. Their goal right now is to stay ahead of the battle brewing behind them. Sebastian Clark is now under attack by fellow Subaru drivers Gabriel Monette and Olivier Martel. Clark and co-driver Pat Levesque currently have the advantage, but their lead over Monette and co-driver Hugh Bergeron is shrinking. This isn't because Clark has slowed down. Monette has doubled his efforts to put distance between himself and Martel, and overtakes Clark on stage 16. The 3 teams are covered by just 30 seconds. On stage 17, Monette makes a mistake and falls to 17th place. But before Martel or Clark can take advantage, Simon Vincent and Hubert Goudreau leapfrog them on the leaderboard. The track racing specialist is now up to 4th overall, after running the first 6 stages of the rally in rear-wheel drive. Marc-André Brizois and Marie-France Desmarais-Trepanier are also using speed to make up for last night's losses. They've climbed back up the leaderboard to 7th place. That's 24 places they've made back up. Jonathan Drake managed to avoid the drama that took out his brother Jeremy earlier in the day. He and co-driver Ian Lance are up to 8th overall. Right behind them, Trevor Pugnier and Ryan Rouleau are back up to 9th and are in control of the production all-wheel drive class. With a 5.5-minute lead in the two-wheel drive class, Hans LaRose and Alexander Pazan have switched to a conservative strategy. Chris Greenhouse and Ryan Scott would love to climb back up the leaderboard, but they've got a very long way to go. They'd have to make up 9 minutes to Matthew Royer and Alyssa Voiselle-Momeny just to claim 2nd place. At the top, Lestage and Ockwell have their confidence back in the new car and are winning every other stage. But even the most successful rally driver in Canadian history makes a mistake every once in a while.
Left 5 minus cross. No. Oh, good.
The snowbank excursion cost Lestage 30 seconds, but they maintain a lead of more than 2 minutes. Besner hangs on to 2nd despite the driveline issues. Moreau holds 3rd, while Vincent and Clark are in a tight battle for 4th. LaRose leads Royer and Greenhouse in two-wheel drive. The final loop of stages at Rallye Perce Neige is coming up.
Welcome to your 20-minute high-intensity workout. Pick up the cadence, regulate your breathing. Get ready for a climb, let's go. Okay, push it on the flats. Pick a number and get after it. Recovery in 3, 2, 1. The all-new WRX.
There's time for one quick service before the final loop of stages at Rallye Perce Neige.
Was going well, but we spun, we hit a bank and we spun. Took a while to restart the car, so we lost a bit of time there. We just tried to find the correct rhythm to stay focused and not too fast to make any stupid mistakes. So we'll try to have a nice, smooth last loop and bring that for them.
Lost 5th gear in about halfway in Tortue. I can deal with that, but now it's a major fuel pressure issue. So barely made it here. Hopefully the guy will find what's the problem. I have a good 5-minute lead on Alex in 3rd place. So comfortable 2nd, but I have to go, car has to make it through.
This broadcast of the Canadian Rally Championship has been presented by Subaru Canada. 4 high-speed stages are left as the sun goes down in Maniwaki, and the dedicated fans of the Canadian Rally Championship are ready for them. With Besner's mechanical difficulties in mind, Antoine Lestage and Alan Ockwell could just play it safe and allow their lead to bleed off. Instead, they open the final loop with a stage win, putting on a great show for the spectators braving the cold. By contrast, Jean-Sébastien Besner and Yvan Joyal are limping. Their service crew was unable to fully sort out the car, and they are struggling just to maintain top 5 times through the last loop of stages. They still have a tremendous margin over Moreau in third, and know they are still in position to earn valuable championship points. Alexander Moreau and Ian Guité have got to be pleased with their shift to test racing. This is their first clean, drama-free run since Perce Neige last year, and the 2023 championship runners-up are poised to spray champagne tonight. With Sebastian Clark breathing down their necks, Simon Vincent and Hubert Goudreau brace themselves to fight for every second. But this is where a calculating driver like Vincent shines. Clark and co-driver Pat Levesque blink first. They stumble on stage 19, losing over 40 seconds to Vincent and falling to within striking distance of Olivier Martel and Marc-André Brisebois. Then they are forced to slow when passing stricken cars, including the 2022 champion, Jérôme Mailloux, stuck in a snowbank for the second time this weekend. Martel overtakes Clark, but then Brisebois leapfrogs them both. He and co-driver Marie-France Desmarais-Trepanier take home 5th place for their epic efforts. Olivier Martel and Vincent Hubert have to settle for 6th overall. The stages are drawing to a close, but the excitement doesn't let up for the fans. Hans Larose and Alexander Pazon have proven that being smart is just as important as being fast when the conditions are as tricky as these. They take home top honors in two-wheel drive. Chris Greenhouse and Brian Scott refuse to simply coast to the finish and have a last-minute close call, but still collect third-place points in their title defense.
180. I meant to do that. Yep.
This weekend belonged to Lestage and Ockwell. They led from the first kilometer and won all of the stages in the final loop as an exclamation point on their rally. A big win and a triumphant return to the sport.
Well, that's it. All right.
Yeah, man.
Good job. Awesome weekend.
Lestage is flanked by Besner and Moreau on the podium. Vincent and Brisebois round out the top 5, while Larose takes the win in two-wheel drive. Antoine Lestage proved he's still at the top of his game.
We knew we had a good package, and Alan and I were both competitive, but we didn't expect to take the lead in the first stage like we did yesterday. Textbook rally, and today we managed, and we had a good pace also on the night stages tonight, and the goal is to do maybe 5-6 events maybe in the championship. So Alan and I, we really enjoyed it. Alan did a fantastic job again in the right seat. He's just great. So yeah, we'd like to be back for more.
Very happy, very satisfied with the result. It was not obviously the kind of rally we were expecting to do. I mean, Perce Neige, as it says, there's supposed to be snow. Proud of my driving, proud of the team. We were obviously not expecting to beat Antoine, who's such a great driver. But yeah, for sure a good start to the 2024 season after the championship last year. I think we'll go for it again this year.
J'avais besoin de certains setups, puis on a travaillé fort hier, puis un matin, là, on avait vraiment trouvé qu'est-ce que j'avais besoin pour faire des bons temps puis remonter. Là. Top 10, n'importe qui aurait pu gagner. Le rallye, c'est ça, il faut le finir, puis vraiment content de ma 3e place.
C'est très flatteur pour nous, ça donne le goût de recommencer, puis je suis content de repartir d'ici la tête haute, mon homme. Bon travail!
With Rallye Perce Neige in the books, the teams will have a couple of months to re-prep before heading west for back-to-back events in BC, the Rocky Mountain Rally and the Pacific Forest Rally. Until then, thank you for watching the Canadian Rally Championship on TSN.